these people start to show up. But in our cases, we had to go as far as creating a startup, putting a product on the market, starting getting deals before we attracted any attention. And that comes because Morocco has unfortunately had a history of failure in entrepreneurships, so that a lot of these companies lost hope in the Moroccan capabilities of developing innovative solutions by our own. So our challenge is really the challenge of making sure our system is successful, that we set an example on our capability to develop by Moroccan competences in Morocco, Moroccan solutions for the Moroccan and African markets. And so this is something that has been very specific to our endeavor.
Okay, you mentioned briefly diaspora. Diaspora is considered one of the main channels of technology transfer that benefited many countries, including China and India. I visited China and Shanghai. They have like huge science parks that are dedicated to diaspora, plug and play. They even look for jobs to their wives, to that level. So my belief, it is an untapped opportunity for Morocco. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well,
and how, Masir was one way to attract this diaspora, but
yeah, the challenge really is has to be looked at from both ways. So yeah, we have to put the support network, maybe not as far as looking for jobs for wives and kindergarten for kids, but at least a support network where this person can at least feel he's supported. Because many times when some of these adventurers come back to a country, they come back to a country that is much different than the one they left. Things have evolved, some positively, some negatively. But the problem is that if they don't get into this mindset that I will be doing things differently, you can't expect VC to be knocking at your door. You have to expect problems in getting market acceptance for your innovation. You have to accept the fact that the Moroccan market is still a developing market and not a developed market. So getting statistics about a particular market, for example, is something much more complicated. So in Europe or in the US, you can get statistics about trends and acceptance and possible. So understanding market will require you to do a lot of field work. Go to meet people and talk to people to understand their problems because, yeah, there is so much information available on the web, but that's not always the case in Morocco. On the other hand, I think the fact that the diaspora has grown accustomed to local environments, to local governments, to national policies that are there to support them. So I take the example of Hisham, who spoke before me. It's an interesting because the university provided a lot of the support he needs to become an entrepreneur. In Morocco, you will have to go and overcome many obstacles on your own before you become an entrepreneur. So diaspora coming back to Morocco is a case-by-case study. It's not a general policy. I don't think that Masir will have the ability to receive all of the Moroccan diaspora. I mean, obviously not. We're only active in a few areas. But it's something we look forward to on every specific case that we try to investigate.
Leonardo, you have an extensive experience, at least in North Africa, I know that's for sure. You've been working on many projects related to capacity building in the field of innovation, research, and so on and so forth. What can you tell us as the main challenges that are facing this region in terms of technology transfer? And if you can tell a little bit more about how can we build like technology transfer system actors in this region, given your experience, and compare with some benchmark with what's happening in other countries that you are familiar with?
Well, thank you very much for the question. We should have a special seminar for this.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the three challenges that we made that we face it are very simple: skills, finance, and the networking. In particular, networks, I'm talking about local networks in terms of governance. That's when I go back later on about these case studies. But it's very interesting to see when we talk about marketplace, adaptation of technologies, how they target groups. So for instance, in our project, we talk about 6 million euros budget project in 10 projects that we had in the MENA regions. So I'm talking about Africa, but also I'm talking about interesting case studies in Arabic world, in particular in Jordan. The issues was dealing with the skills. Now, the skills for technology transfer from us was essentially important because one of the first aspects from us was is to who is going to improve in these skills. Research managers. That was extremely important to make some specific activity to the research manager. There is no research managers in the universities, for instance. So yes. we try to make a new profession, new skill in the research center in the universities, but also how they can be work at the business development managers with the companies. So, of course, money is one of the issues because we talk about private, public money. There is huge fragmentation of funding, in particular public funding, which is we try now to make that we call a funding matrix to have an opportunity what happen in Europe, outside Europe, collaboration. Just to give an example, Tunisia, we made through a European project more closely cooperation with Japan. Because there is a JETCA, which is the development agency from, there was a very interesting what we do in particular in water treatment, because this is one of the interesting aspects. Brokerage, it was very important to see technology offers. So when we talk about an operators, to create the first operator to support in the technologies, so the technology broker. So there was very interesting to see the networks, how the networks in Europe are works, in particular in terms of the communication. Even communication is an issue. So how we can translate this lovely publication to the investors.
But let me stop you there. You talked about brokerage.
Yeah.
I know there is the European Enterprise Network in Europe doing the same thing, but it was not really very, very successful in terms of brokers, even in Europe.
But even in Europe, there is a very bottleneck, because bear in mind that one of the major problems that we have in an Enterprise Europe network is a standard, which is, we told the non-technology activities. So each country, they have a different approach. So for instance, France, Italy, Spain, the approach in technology transfer is different. But because we talk about also dealing with the cluster policies. So cluster as an aggregation of companies. So this is also an important aspect to consider. I want to underline one important aspect, which is from us as a lesson learned. Spend less money to coaching and training and more budget for innovation award. Innovation award.
Innovation awards. Okay.
So for young researchers in particular, what we did even in Morocco, but also now with a new project in the Mediterranean countries, is to give an opportunities for new potential. I'm saying new potential. I didn't say new entrepreneur, because the important aspect is the motivation, is the management of the risk, is how we're going to decide to go or no go to become an entrepreneur. So this is a very important, the mentoring, and opportunity also for diaspora. What we did, we tried to help through an entrepreneur, an experienced entrepreneur come from the region, which is also help in Europe to do this. And I believe, so the three major challenges are the new skills, understanding project cycle management in this process. The skills, there will be specifically also lawyers, something specifically dealing with the communication. Also communication is a very important issue. And a third, networking and governance.
Okay, we don't have much time left, but I would like to address the fourth point. And in my point of view, the most interesting point is, but in a nutshell, please, how do you foresee, you are an entrepreneur from Switzerland, it's nice what you are doing. What is in it for African countries? How do you you can see this collaboration in technology transfer, in your case, for example, with another developing country, Morocco or another African country?
The transfer of the technology from the university to the company, to the market, it's very, very different. It depends on the market. You need to know what is the need of the market. Moroccan market, African market, or
No, for
European.
your case specifically,
For my
can you
case-
foresee something?
For in my startup, like in the development of my startup, it's for the market is world market. It's not only specific
Yeah.
targeted market, which is the need. It's global need for all the clinical. This answer your question?
Okay.
But this is really in the case. But what is very important, as Leonardo said, there is a network, but there is a relation platform between university and the market. We need to have a close collaboration between a company like R&D or inside of the company and the university to do this transfer of the technology to the market. Because I know that there is some people here which have some project, and when we are working in the laboratory, we have some ideas like we need to develop technology. But you need to find who is going to take this technology from your laboratory to the market with you, and
Thank you.
they need it.
Thank you, Hisham. Christophe, I know that you have a concrete example of how we can promote South-North collaboration that is win-win for both sides.
Yes. So before, I will just say that developing emerging countries interest, it's a new market for international group, it's a new market for investors. So it's important to allow them to meet African entrepreneurship, to access to this market. So Big Booster, in fact, so Big Booster,
Big Booster, yeah.
The international accelerator program, once create a bridge with StartUp Maroc. It's one example. So Big Booster, if I can give some number, it's 500 applicants, it's 72 startups selected, 200 mentors, 150 hours of pitches, and a lot of big partners as Capgemini, Sanofi, Schneider. And today I'm happy to be here because we have signed a partnership with StartUp Maroc and StartUp Africa, and so in this win-win to help to the transfer technology, we are proud to welcome in Lyon next year for the second edition 10 startups from which has been selected by StartUp Maroc and StartUp Africa to meet our network, to make this network of VC, business angel, and big group.
Thank you, Christophe. There is we need a round of applause of that because they accept 10 startups from Morocco to support them to go to Big Booster
to go Lyon, and I hope after for the 20
Lyon.
best to Boston, and for the final in April 2015, perhaps share 100,000 euros.
Thank you very much. Hisham, I know you have specific idea on how to promote this. Can you expand on that?
Sure. Thanks for this opportunity because you don't get to get that many entrepreneurs in front of you all the time. So our idea is really a concept that we call entrepreneur in residence. So as Masir has state-of-the-art platforms in biotechnology, microelectronics, and nanomaterial, we would like entrepreneurs to benefit from this platform. So we had 3 startups that were created in 2015. So one of them was done by one of diaspora Moroccan that's living in France. And we would like this example to be multiplied. We would like many entrepreneurs to come with an understanding of market need, African market needs in particular. And the rest, so the scientific solutions, the innovation, the platform to do the prototype is something that we can provide to these entrepreneurs. So we're very good at scientific and technology innovation on the Moroccan level, of course, but we are missing this link of an entrepreneur who's going to wet his shirt, as we say, bring something to the market, fight to make it successful. And so we're willing to entertain any entrepreneurs who has an idea and a need for a scientific and technology solution. So please, I'll be here all day. So I'll be interested in hearing what types of problems you have faced on the African and Moroccan market and how Masir can help you become a successful entrepreneur by partnering with it.
Thank you, Hisham. Leonardo, your last 3 words.
I know it's not easy before lunch, but 2 concrete initiatives. First, I propose to make a collaboration with a startup Morocco and Africa we call business idea partnership. In other words, we can offer, it's not too much money, 2,000 euros, for the most brilliant idea that can become in our office in Brussels. This is the first one. Second, that's what we already did it, is to make a collaboration in the new opportunity for research, but in particular innovation staff exchange program. I would like to have no more than researchers or young researchers. I want to see more an opportunity for future operators in innovation in any European project. This is what we can offer. So in the short term, an opportunity for next year, and an opportunity also to building together a project for the research and innovation staff exchange program.
Thank you very much. One small word from Hisham, and then we will close the session.
I want only to add only one point. There is in Switzerland technology development devices adapted to the Africa. There is two companies that they're developing like medical device adapted to the market of the Africa, by taking into consideration all the opportunity in Africa, and also it's not only for working, we are working on technology for the future, but we are also working on technology, how we can develop it like sterilizer for the laboratory when there is no electricity, and also devices adapted to the need of African people.
Thank you very much. Thank you, our distinguished guests. Thank you for the audience.
Thank you.
Yeah, I get the final word if you don't mind. Yeah, so what we decided to do is to take this huge challenge. So everyone in the room is quite hungry for lunch. So I'll be trying to catch some of your attention by showing you some of the startups that Masir had came up with. So we have 3 of our project holders who will be explaining what they have done in Masir, and I hope this will inspire some of you to join us during lunch and exchange and try to identify our next entrepreneur in residence. So I hope to see you, many of you at least, during the lunch break. Thank you very much.
Alright, I told you that no matter what you did, I'd be by your side. Cause I'm a ride or die, whether you fail or fly, what should at least you try. But when you walk out the door, a piece of me died. We were dancing all night, we were dancing all night. We were dancing all night. We were dancing all night. Till the end of time, I would wait a million
خلي قال لي خلي فيلم